Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Royal Assassin. So Royal Assassin is the second book in the Farseer trilogy and also the second book in the Realm of the Elderlings series. And I have a reading vlog for the first book, which I uploaded last week. So if you haven't watched that and want to watch it before watching this one, I will link it in the description and also up there. And I just came out of that book with a lot of questions that I really wanted answered. And so I was very excited to get into this one. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers for what happens in this book in this video. And having said that, let's get into it. Okay, so I am on page 218, which is about a third into Royal Assassin. And we start this book with Fitz still dealing with the aftermath of having been poisoned at the sort of end of book one. And obviously he didn't die because he didn't ingest enough poison, but he's not feeling great and he's very weak and he keeps having seizures and he doesn't know if he will ever actually fully recover, and he is just not feeling great. And he and Bridge make their way back to Buckkeep, which is where the court and the princes and the king are. And when they get there, they learn that Verity, who is the heir, has been using the skill to keep the raiders away, or to at least warn everyone that they are coming. And while he is at Buckkeep, he finds Molly, and I didn't mention her in book one, but basically they have known each other since they were kids, and Fitz is pretty much in love with her. And she is there working at the palace because her dad died and left her a lot of debt. So she went to ask her cousin for help, but then their village was raided by the red ships and all of that, and she came back. And Patience, who is, I guess in a way, Fitz's stepmother, but not really, but she was married to Fitz's dad, and she takes Molly in as a maid because she knows that Fitz courted her, so she takes her in as a maid to help her. And Fitz learns all of that when he gets back to Buckkeep. And he also finds a wolf who he saves, and he keeps saying that he's not gonna bond with the wolf, using the wit. But I'm we all know that he's going to, right? It's obvious. And then he ends up bonding with a wolf who is actually called Night Eyes. And also he spends a lot of time with Verity's wife, who is called Ketrican, and he basically becomes sort of her advisor. And he also goes on some of his assassin missions. And some of those missions are because a lot of the Forged Ones, who are those zombified people, are going to Buckkeep way more than they should be if they were just roaming around aimlessly. And it seems like they have a purpose, but at the same time, they are not supposed to be able to have those kinds of thoughts and strategies. And so they're kind of confused as to why all those Forged Ones are being attracted to Buckkeep. And so some of Fitz's missions are to go out and kill all those Forged Ones that get way too close. And meanwhile, while all of that is happening, we know that Regal, who is Verity's younger half-brother, is still trying to basically get to Verity's position. He wants to be the next heir, he wants to be king, and he's still working on how to get there. And after some time, Fitz and Molly confess their love for each other, and they're cute. I'm not obsessed with them, I'm not shipping really hard, but they're cute enough. And I think the last thing we learn is that they want to know more about the Elderlings, And the elderlings are kind of sort of mythical beings that have some sort of magic, and they have helped like a king in the past. And I clearly also know nothing about them. I feel like I know way less about them than the characters in the book, and they still want to know more. So yeah, I think that is where we are. And yeah, there hasn't been like a lot of action going on. Sure, there were some fight scenes which were amazing, but nothing really like action moving the plot forward. But surprisingly, I am not having any problems with that. We are just learning a lot about like the political situation and like all the intrigue and just talking strategies, but I am kind of loving all of it. And it's probably because I love the writing, and also I love most of the characters. Like, I absolutely love Fitz and like just following him. Which, I mean, in book one, I also really liked him, but I got kind of bored when he got slow. But here, I am actually loving it. And I also love Burrich and Ketchikan, and I mean, I don't love Molly, but I like her, and Chade and Verity. And yeah, there's just a lot of characters that I like, and I am shocked with how much I'm liking this book, because I tend to like very fast-paced books, and this is a very slow-paced, and I am having a great time with it. And I'm just shocked. I can't process that. But anyway, I will read another third and let you know what happened and what I'm thinking about it. Okay, so I am on page 430, and we start off like basically right away in this second third with Molly telling Fitz that they are never gonna work because they have very different lives and they have very different goals. But Fitz doesn't really agree with that, and he tells her that he's gonna talk to the king to ask him permission to marry. And he does go talk to the king, and before he manages to ask anything, he sees that the king is sick, but basically he is being kept sick. And Fitz is pretty sure that he's being kept sick by Regal, because Regal wants to be able to control things and not have his father control things instead. But later he manages to actually talk to the king about marrying, and the king tells him that there is a duke who the king wants Fitz, that there is a duke who has a daughter that the king wants Fitz, that there is a duke that has a daughter that the king wants Fitz to marry. And Fitz doesn't really mention Molly because the king is like, you're gonna marry her, period. And then Fitz is sent by Verity on a mission on their ships. And while he is on the ships, he sees a white ship that nobody else sees. It's like some sort of vision that he has. And then someone tells him that seeing a white ship is like a bad omen and basically means seeing your own death. So that's great. And then when Fitz is back at Buckkeep, the fool talks to him, and the fool tells him about what I think is a prophecy, but I am very confused about it, and it was like 2 whole pages, so I'm not gonna read it for the video either because it is a lot. But I was very confused, Fitz was very confused, and the fool always talks like in riddles kind of, so no explanation, like no clear explanation, and I am just lost. And the fool later also tells Fitz that there is someone pregnant with an heir to the Farseer line. So it's either Ketchikan with Verity's child or Molly with Fitz's. And Fitz goes talk to Molly, and Molly tells him that no, she is not pregnant, so it must be Ketchikan. And also, Verity wants to go out to look for the elderlings to ask for their help, and Verity talks to his father, the king, to ask permission to just go out on his quest to find the elderlings. And the king at first is like not really thinking that's a great idea, But then Regal says that he thinks it's an excellent idea, and that is because Regal wants Verdi gone because he wants to be the heir and he wants to be the king. And yeah, then the king ends up agreeing. And so Verdi is going out to look for the elderlings. And then the duke, whose daughter the king wants Fitz to marry, gets to Buckkeep, and that is pretty much where I'm at. And I feel like the same situation is still happening, like in the first third. There hasn't been a lot of action. I mean, there were a couple fights, and there was the whole situation when Fitz was on the ships. And I mean, there is like a little bit of action, but nothing really moving the plot forward that much. It's still very much like political intrigue, who's betraying who, who's spying on who. But I am still absolutely loving it, and I am still very shocked about it. One thing that I was liking and now I'm not, and I mean, it's not a thing, it's a character, and that's Molly, because I'm just starting to get really annoyed by her because she is very dramatic, very whiny, and I fully understand that she has gone through some stuff and she is going through some stuff, but she is annoying me because she is always like telling Fitz that they are not going to work. They are never going to be able to have a future. But then she really wants to be with him. But then they're not going to work and they need to be apart. But then she really wants to be with him because she really loves him. But then they're not going to work. And I'm just like, girl, make a fucking decision and stick to it. And I am just getting tired of her. But apart from that, I am still loving every other character that I love. I'm still hating Regal with every fiber of my being. I also love Night Eyes, like the wolf that Fitz bonded himself to. He's really like iconic and also hilarious, and I just love him. And yeah, I am having a great time with this book. Not like 5-star kind of great time because it is too slow for me, but like a solid 4-star. And yes, I will finish it and talk to you again. I have finished Royal Assassin, and right after where we left off, we learn that Ketrican is indeed pregnant. We get confirmation, and like right after that, they learn that one of the towns, villages, cities, whatever, that is kind of essential to Buckkeep's survival is being attacked by the red ships. So some people head there, and that group of people includes obviously Fitz, Burrich, and Ketrican herself. And while they are on their way, Fitz's wolf accompanies them like in the distance, but he and Fitz are like talking telepathically, and Burrich hears it because he also has the wit. He doesn't use it because he's very against it, but he hears the conversation. And so he learns that Fitz is bonded to the wolf, which he is very not happy about. And because he just warned Fitz, like ever since he learned that Fitz has the wit, he warned him not to use it because, I mean, first of all, he doesn't like it. And secondly, like it is forbidden and it is dangerous for him to use it. And then they get to the area that is like under siege and they are attacked, especially Ketrican. They are like very much going towards her to attack her. And I mean, we get some great action. And they manage to actually be victorious, and then they return to Buckkeep. And when they return to Buckkeep, they receive a message. I mean, the others, like the people who were there, had received the message, and they show to Ketrican that Verdi is dead. But Fitz, Burrich, and Shade don't believe that Verdi is actually dead. And so Fitz thinks that with the help of the king, he might be able to use the skill to talk to Verdi, because Fitz can't skill himself, like by himself, because of what Galen did to him in the first book. So he either like needs someone else to reach out to him, or in this case, if he wants to reach out to someone, he needs the help of somebody else. And in that case is the king. And so he goes to the king and he manages to skill to Verity, who is very much alive. And they can't let Regal know that they know that Verity is alive, because Regal is the one like making all that up, because like with Verity dead, he is the heir. And the king is very sick. So when the king dies, he will be the king. And Molly, once again, argues with Fitz and just leaves Buckkeep. And Fitz and Shade are trying to figure out like a safe location to take both the king and Ketrican to basically protect them from Regal, because Regal obviously wants his father dead so he can be king, and he also wants Verity's child, so Ketrican's child, unborn child, dead as well. And they do find a place where they can take him. But then the king changes his mind and says that he doesn't want to leave anymore. So he stays there and he actually dies. And when he dies, Fitz, through the scale, is able to feel that two of Regal's people were actually like draining him with the skill. And then he goes out to find them and he kills them, which was absolutely iconic. But then Fitz himself is captured. And he's taken to the dungeon, and Regal is charging him with killing the king using the wit. And so he needs to prove that Fitz has the wit. And so Regal, who did crown himself king, tells his people to torture Fitz into basically confessing that he has the wit. And one night, while Fitz is there all like fucked up basically in the dungeon, Burrich goes there and he discreetly leaves him something that has like a powder in it, I think. And Night Eyes, through their mental connection, tells Fitz to take that and like leave his body. And Fitz does that, and the powder makes him like look dead. And so his body is buried, and he had left his body. And if I understood correctly, which maybe I didn't, he was kind of like sharing Night Eyes' body with him, which was pretty cool, by the way. Like, he just thought as a wolf, like he was a wolf. And then Burrich and Shade, who were able to get Ketrican out, by the way, they get Fitz's body, which had been buried, and Burrich is kind of able to call Fitz back to his body. And there's that, like, everyone thinks that he's dead, except for Shade and Burrich, and obviously Night Eyes. And yeah, that is how it ended. And oh my god, I loved it. But let's just go into my final thoughts. So, starting off with the characters, obviously starting off with Fitz, I still absolutely love Fitz. Like, I would die for Fitz. He is precious. He is just, I love him so much. And I also love Burrich so much. And their like sort of father-son relationship, so fucking cute. And like the fact that Burrich worked with Night Eyes to save Fitz, even though like he hates using the wit, he despises it, he's kind of like disgusted by it, but he worked with Night Eyes to save Fitz, and I love them. And also loved Shade and Ketrican and Verity. And Molly, like I said, I started off actually thinking she and Fitz were pretty cute, and I ended up just so annoyed with her, and like I can't stand her now. Cause like she's so dramatic and whiny, and she just wants Fitz to drop everything, like leave the court, leave his job, leave his duty, leave his, you know, family, like people that he does love for her. I feel like Molly is that kind of partner that's like they have to be everything in your life, and like you have to do everything for them and live only for them, and just they have to be the center of your life, and that ain't it. And yeah, obviously hate Regal and all of his people, and I want Regal to have a very slow, agonizing death. But anyway, moving on. Like I said already a few times, this book was very much like slow-paced, just learning about the politics, scheming, discussing things, but I was living for like the drama and intrigue, and I was actually also like pretty stressed out, anxious about a lot of things that were happening, especially in this last third. Like, it was intense. I was on the edge of my seat. I was actually like really, really worried. And I mean, I knew Fitz wasn't gonna die because there are more books with him. but I was still very nervous and anxious and worried and oh my god. And this last third was like impeccable, absolutely perfect. 5 stars, no doubts. And the first 2 thirds, I think I had already said that I was feeling like very 4 stars. And so as a whole, I am giving it 4.5 stars. And yeah, that is everything for this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe. And I will talk to you next time. Bye!